Plus, streaming on Fox Local.
Welcome back into Fox 35 News Plus. Governor Ron DeSantis in Tampa this morning. We carried his question and answer with reporters live as he talked about alligator Alcatraz and a number of other things as well. The news conference was held at the University of South Florida Health Morsani College of Medicine as he was signing some bills that had to do with mental health and addiction recovery as well. He also signed the Tristin Murphy Act, which stresses treatment instead of incarceration for nonviolent offenders with serious mental illnesses. He also, while he was speaking, talked about the evacuation flights that have been going on and bringing folks back from Israel to the United States, many of those flights landing in Tampa. He said there will be no more rescue flights now that the airport there in Tel Aviv is back open. But he says they were able to evacuate about 2,000 Americans from Israel. Here's what Governor DeSantis said during that news conference in Tampa just a little bit ago.
So here we are today. We have reduced homelessness. We're 22% less in homelessness. Part of that is support, but part of it is also accountability, and I think you got to do both. But we want to keep the momentum going. So today I'm going to sign Florida Senate Bill 1620, which implements key recommendations made by Florida's Commission on Mental Health and Substance Abuse Disorder. Now, some folks are going to be talking about the bill a little bit more in depth, but I think that this is the product of people really looking and trying to see what goes on in this space, and not only just in Florida, but looking around the country to see what's worked or not worked, and then offering recommendations about how we can do a better job. And so you're going to see a lot of things, I think, that'll be very, very positive. So I want to thank folks who were involved with that. I think this helps build a system to try to prevent the worst crises from occurring in the first place. And a lot of times when you have really serious crises, there's a buildup to that if you did have some support earlier on, probably could have been avoided. And I think the fact that our hotline has had X number of people and not had the suicides tells me that that's something that really, and you end up in the situation where people aren't being heard or they don't have any support. We're also signing Senate Bill 168, which is called the Tristin Murphy Act. And this grew out of Tristin Murphy was a young man. He had schizophrenia, paranoia, and delusions, but he was not provided the mental health care that he was really in dire need of when he got involved with the criminal justice system. And, you know, he committed, crimes, but they weren't necessarily, violent crimes. You didn't necessarily have a victim on kind of what he was doing, an automobile, some other stuff like that. You know, the reality is it is what it is, but he got passed around in the justice system. There really wasn't a pathway to have a mental health intervention, which may have ended up being much better had they done that. And so this led to a tragedy in 2001 on a work detail. Tristin committed suicide. And so this is something that probably there would have been a good chance that would have been mitigated or that he wouldn't have even attempted that had there been some mental health intervention. And so under this bill, counties and municipalities are going to be able to establish misdemeanor mental health programs as well as pretrial felony programs, so that if people are in the justice system and they have these particularly really significant mental health afflictions, that we don't think that somehow just putting them in jail is going to fix that. That is not going to fix those problems, and people need to be held accountable, but you also have to provide support in ways that will actually address the problem. And so this is something that sheriffs, courts, and treatment providers will have a clear process. They're going to be able to provide people in programs that are going to help them. This bill expands criminal justice, mental health, and substance abuse reinvestment grant program to include a new focus on veteran treatment court programs and on emergency responder training. And for the first time, this bill requires mental health evaluations for individuals with a history of incompetency adjudications before they're placed on probation and returned to society, which have functioned as a loophole. So I want to thank Ben Albritton for really really leading the charge on this. I know this is something that he was very passionate about. This provides tools, and I see Sheriff Permel here, and was the head of the Sheriff's Association. I said, are you guys going to use this? They said, absolutely. This is going to be something that is going to be good. And I think if you talk to a lot of people in law enforcement, and obviously you have a lot of really dangerous criminals that just need to be kept off the street, but a lot of people that interact with the justice system, the root cause is not that they're bad people trying to harm others, it's that they've got a lot of mental health problems that are leading to behavior that is antisocial. And so to the extent that we can do that and identify that and potentially provide solutions for that, that's going to ultimately be better for taxpayers, it'll be better for the entire justice system, and it'll be better for the safety of our community. So I want to thank everybody who's been involved with that. I also want to thank, we have Senator Darrell Roos on here, who is the state senator from, he has, do you have this? Is this in your district or no? Okay. So he's got St. Pete and parts of Tampa, and he's had a huge focus on mental health and substance abuse policies throughout his time in the Florida legislature. And so in honor of his service to the state of Florida on this subject, I'm pleased to announce that we have worked together with both the Florida Senate and the University of South Florida to officially name the Florida Mental Health Institute the Senator Darrell Roos Center for Substance Abuse and Mental Health Research. The Florida Mental Health Institute is the largest behavioral health services research center in the U.S. and conducts applied research to improve services and outcomes for individuals with mental, addictive, and developmental disorders. And we're very happy to see this, and we're proud that Darrell has been an example of overcoming substance abuse, but also has been very passionate about helping others who may be in similar predicaments. And so thanks to everybody who's been involved with all these initiatives. I know there was, they were trying to get this into statute, and there was a little bit of a hiccup on that, but it was a period, a lot of hiccups, but just the way it is. So, but nevertheless, we're happy that we were able to work together with the Senate to get this done, and thanks to USF for also working with us on this.
That was Governor Ron DeSantis there, as speaking in Tampa just a little bit ago.